So today is World Press Freedom Day, and while freedom of expression and the role of journalism it remains important as ever, in fact, a black swan factor has now entered the picture. That is artificial intelligence. Let's talk to Charlie Beckett, Director of Journalism AI, about where that will leave the industry. Charlie, a very good afternoon to you. Good evening. Thank you so much for your time. So AI, World Press Freedom Day, how do we take the two and pull them together today?
Well, I think the fact is, as you mentioned, journalism around the world needs all the help it can get. It's under economic pressure, political pressure, and just about every other kind of pressure. So the hope is that these technologies can help journalists to work more efficiently, they can help them to work smarter, and help them to connect to the public in a more efficient way as well. It's not some kind of miracle cure. It won't make all the other problems go away. But just before Christmas, I was in Johannesburg talking with a bunch of investigative journalists from around the whole continent of Africa, and they were doing really interesting, exciting things to try and do what journalists are supposed to do, which is, hold the powerful to account and try and, campaign on behalf of citizens. So they were doing fantastic work, and now, of course, with this chat GDP stuff, the whole thing has exploded, and anything is now possible, good things and bad things.
And we've already seen the modern newsroom shrink in the last, 1-2 decades. Could AI lead to a rapid, actually, shrinking of the newsrooms even further, because the media bosses want to spend less money, for example, on staff?
Yeah, of course. Whenever there's technology that makes us more efficient, there's always a threat to the numbers of people working. And what I would say is that if this machinery can do the simple, repetitive, boring bits of journalism, then perhaps that's a good thing. In an ideal world, the people will go on and use that time, use those efficiency gains to do more interesting journalism, to do the investigative stuff, to do the human kind of journalism, the reporting out there in real life, because that's going to be the kind of journalism not just that people need, but that will make your brand stand out. Because if the machine can do all the obvious journalism, then, why do you exist? So you're quite right, there's always going to be pressure on jobs, but I hope that the best journalists will be able to respond.
But critical to journalism are considerations around ethical journalism, for example, accuracy. Would what's available at the moment in the AI market be able to do that better than humans?
Not necessarily better. I mean, I think, as you just said, there's a problem already with biased journalism and inaccurate journalism, frankly. AI is not going to solve that. But indeed, sometimes the AI, the recent chat GPT AI, sometimes makes things up. So I don't think that journalists should rely on this technology completely. It's always going to be a tool that they can use to help their work. And obviously, you can use it in bad ways. If you want to spread misinformation and propaganda, then you can use these new technologies to do it even quicker. Or you can use it to do better journalism. But it's always got to be hand in hand with a human editor.
But where would it leave regulation? I mean, we've seen some countries around the world already clamping down on media freedom. Once you've got bots doing the work of journalists, I wonder how far some of these governments would take media regulation and what the implications that then would be for the people who would still be in newsrooms.
You're so right, and it depends so much where you are. If you're in a country where media freedom is already under pressure, then there's a danger, isn't there? That in the same way that, authoritarian governments manipulate social media, they manipulate the internet, well, they're going to try and manipulate us through these technologies as well. It's a continuing battle, and you're quite right, journalists have to be aware of this, but politicians have to be aware of this. And we as citizens and voters have to demand regulation that protects us from harm, but doesn't stop people from speaking out and, helping give citizens a voice.
Charlie Beckett, really good to speak to you from London. Thank you for your time.